After studying this module, you shall be able to know more about the field of positive psychology, learn about positive prevention, positive intervention, positive therapy and positive education, and identify the challenges of positive psychology. Positive psychology is the scientific study of the strengths and virtues that help individuals, communities, and organizations to thrive. Some of the major topics of interest in positive psychology include happiness, optimism, mindfulness, flow, character strengths and virtues, hope, positive thinking, resilience, etc. Some of the important people in positive psychology include Martin Seligman, Csikszentmihalyi, Christopher Peterson, Kenan Sheldon, Albert Bandura, C.R. Snyder, etc. Positive psychology is very crucial in today's world, battling with wars, famines, unemployment and the increasing burden of mental illness. Positive psychology has a role to play in dealing with these problems as well as through positive education, positive prevention, positive therapy and positive intervention. The burden of mental illness. The focus on the positive aspects doesn't mean that positive psychology researchers negate depression and mental illness as important issues within our society. The occurrence of depression is very worrying. Depression was 10 times higher in 2009 than it was in 1960, with the mean age for depression today being 14.5 as compared to 29.5 in 1960. At any one time, about 2% of the population is suffering from depression and 14% of us will experience depression by the age of 35 compared to 2% in the 1950s according to Keyes and Michael Eck. The results of the Global Burden of Disease study in 1996 found depression to be among the top 5 illnesses contributing to disability in life-adjusted years, which is the total number of years a person lives with disabilities. Mental illness costs the USA over $40 billion per annum, and this figure continues to rise. It has been estimated that up to 50% of us will experience some mental disorder in our lifetime. This is also a fact that once we have experienced a mental disorder, we are far more likely to experience another again in the future. The rise in documented occurrences could be due to the reduced stigma involved in seeking help for depression as well as to increased public awareness of mental disorders. Despite many breakthroughs, the burden of mental disorders is becoming more prevalent. The science of mental health is more concerned with repairing and healing the damage rather than preventing the damage. Also, even after treatment, there are many cases of relapse. It has also been found that the age of first onset of unipolar depression has decreased during the last century. Mental illness leads to reduced productivity in families, communities, and the workplace. It also leads to increased medical costs, lost wages, and disability claims. Major depression has been linked to increased risk of coronary heart disease and addictive disorders. Depression is also one of the leading causes of suicide. Positive psychology deals with this problem by focusing on positive education, positive prevention, positive therapy, and positive intervention. Let us now understand positive therapy. Clinical psychology has devoted exclusive attention to psychopathology and viewed people through the disease model. Many critics are of the view that the uncritical acceptance of the medical model and over-reliance on medical concepts and language was the fatal flaw of clinical psychology. In this perspective, people are seen as victims of psychic conflicts and are passive recipients of the expert. Positive psychology emphasizes the building of the following strengths in psychotherapy, like courage, interpersonal skills, rationality, insight, optimism, honesty, perseverance, realism, capacity for pleasure, putting troubles into perspective, future-mindedness, and finding purpose. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. A positive clinical psychology can only be achieved by abandoning the language of illness and adopting the language of positive psychology. The barrier that comes in the way is that the illness ideology is inherent in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. The DSM's classification and organization of pathology is exactly the opposite of the view endorsed by positive psychology. Many psychologists believe that, like other social constructions of race, gender, etc., our concepts of normality and abnormality are tied to social values and the contextual rules derived from these values. With each DSM revision, the boundaries of mental disorder have been expanded, leading to a more pathologized view of life and an increasing number of people diagnosed with mental disorders. In fact, almost every problem of human living has been pathologized. Therefore, any pattern of thinking, feeling, or behaving that deviates from the social norm is considered disruptive or undesirable. The faulty assumptions of the DSM. A system of socially constructed categories is a set of facts about the world. The main issue here is the validity of these categories. We can distinguish between normal and abnormal with the help of a clear criteria. Categories facilitate clinical judgment and categories facilitate treatment. The problems with the DSM. The main problems associated with DSM are affixing a label leads to ignoring the differences within the labeled group. It also leads to de-individuation in the sense that the individual is no longer seen as unique, rather one of many carrying that label. Another problem is the fundamental negative bias and neglect of environmental conditions. Positive psychotherapy contrasts with standard interventions for depression by increasing positive emotion, engagement, and meaning rather than directly targeting depressive symptoms. Due to overemphasis on problems, though psychology has done well in ameliorating a number of disorders, it has lagged behind in enhancing human positives. The positive psychotherapy rests on the hypothesis that depression can be treated effectively by reducing its negative symptoms and by building human emotions, character strengths, and meaning. It is assumed that directly building these positive resources may successfully counteract negative symptoms and may also buffer against their future relapse. In the last 6 years, the field of positive psychology has made significant scientific gains in analyzing the nature and benefits of these targets. Positive psychology offers an alternative worldview. It emphasizes well-being, satisfaction, happiness, talent, perseverance, wisdom, responsibility, etc. It helps in making people more self-directed. Mental health promotion has not been given much attention as an end in itself. Subjective well-being refers to individuals' perceptions and evaluations of their lives in terms of their psychological functioning, affective states, and social functioning. Sometimes, positive mental health is used synonymously with subjective well-being. Psychological well-being encompasses self-acceptance, personal growth, purpose in life, environmental mastery, autonomy, and positive relations with others. Social well-being involves social acceptance, social actualization, social contribution, social coherence, and social integration. Positive education is defined as education which is meant to inculcate both traditional skills and happiness. The main argument for positive education can be made by the fact that there is a high prevalence worldwide of depression among young people and a small rise in life satisfaction. The prevalence of depression among young people is shockingly high worldwide. Nearly 20% of youth experience an episode of clinical depression by the end of high school, according to Livingston et al. By some estimates, depression is about 10 times more common now than it was 50 years ago. In addition, several studies suggest that the age of first onset has decreased from adulthood to adolescence. Another reason for positive education is that more well-being is synergistic with better learning. Increases in well-being are likely to produce increases in learning, which is the traditional goal of education. Positive mood produces broader attention, according to Fredrickson, and more creative thinking. Well-being should be taught in school as an antidote to depression, as a means for increasing life satisfaction, and as an aid to better learning and more creative thinking. Because most young people attend school, schools provide the opportunity to reach them and enhance their well-being on a wide scale. Schools are an excellent location for taking up well-being initiatives. Positive health refers to well-being beyond the mere absence of disease. Positive health aims to empirically identify health assets by determining factors that predict health and illness. Biological health assets might include high heart rate variability, cardiorespiratory fitness, etc. Subjective health assets include positive emotions, life satisfaction, hope, optimism, and a sense of meaning and purpose. Functional health assets include close friends and family members, a stable marriage, meaningful work, participation in a social community, as well as the ability to carry out work, family, and social roles. Hence, positive health is the empirical study of health assets. A health asset is an individual factor that produces longer life, lower morbidity, better prognosis when illness occurs, high quality of life, etc. Positive health as a discipline is patterned after positive psychology, an approach in which mental health is defined as more than the simple absence of mental illness, but rather as the presence of specific assets of PERMA, which is positive emotion, engagement, relationships, meaning and achievement according to Peterson, Park and Seligman. Positive health is related to three existing approaches concerned with good health. That is, disease prevention, health promotion and wellness. One of the triumphs of modern medicine and public health has been the direct and indirect targeting of the causes of disease and injury. Health promotion helps people in striving for optimal health, which refers to a balance of physical, emotional, social, spiritual and intellectual fitness. Wellness is the condition of good physical and mental health, especially when maintained by proper diet, exercise and habits according to Dunn. Positive intervention. The main interventions in positive psychology are aimed to nurture the three routes to happiness, that is, pleasure, gratification and meaning. Positive emotions are increased by exercises that increase gratitude, savoring, optimism and that challenge discouraging beliefs regarding the past. Interventions that increase the good life identify participants' signature strengths and use them more often and in creative new ways. Meaningful life interventions aim toward identifying and connecting with something larger than themselves by using their signature strengths. Positive psychologists have developed a number of techniques which are called positive psychology interventions that can make us happier. Such interventions include well-being enhancing activities such as writing a gratitude journal, being kind to others and identifying personal strengths. These interventions boost mood immediately and are also very effective in improving physical and psychological health in the long term. They help by encouraging the development of resilience, insight, sense of purpose, optimism and altruism. Positive psychology has traditionally conceptualized authentic happiness as a mix of hedonic and eudaimonic well-being according to Seligman and Csikszentmihalyi. Hedonic happiness encompasses high levels of positive affect and low levels of negative affect in addition to high subjective life. In addition to high subjective life satisfaction, focusing exclusively on personal weakness and damages has made science poorly equipped to do effective prevention. There are three main topics that run in the main contributions to positive psychology. The first is related to positive experience. The hedonic quality of current experience is the basic building block of a positive psychology according to Kahneman. Other major contributions are Diener's work on subjective well-being, Massimini and Delphave's on optimal experience, Peterson on optimism, Myers on happiness, Ryan and Desai on self-determination. Taylor et al. And Salovey et al.'s study on the relationship between positive emotions and physical health. The second main thread is the theme of positive personality. These approaches see human beings as self-organizing, self-directed, adaptive entities. Ryan and Desai's focus on self-determination, Baltes and Staudinger on wisdom, Valent on mature defenses, Lubinsky and Benbow, Simonton, Wenner, Larson and Gardner, Michelson and Solomon focus on exceptional performance, creativity and talent. Some of these approaches adopt a developmental perspective. The third thread that runs through these contributions is the recognition that people and experiences are embedded in a social context. Thus, A positive psychology needs to take into account the positive community and positive institutions. Buss and Massimini and Delfave describe the evolutionary milieu that shapes positive human experience. Myers describes the contributions of social relationships to happiness, and Schwartz reflects on the need for cultural norms to relieve individuals of the burden of choice. Larson emphasizes the importance of voluntary activities for the development of resourceful people, and Finner studied the effect of families on the development of talent. All these contributions look at behavior in its ecologically valid social setting. Positive prevention. The job of psychologists is prevention of problems like depression, substance abuse, etc. This goal cannot be achieved by following the disease model. Rather, this can be attained by building competencies and strengths. Prevention in psychology also focuses on building these strengths. Positive psychologists believe that possessing certain human strengths can provide a buffer against mental illness. These virtues include courage, optimism, interpersonal skills, hope, perseverance, etc. Positive psychologists believe that by identifying, amplifying and concentrating on these strengths in people at risk, effective prevention can be done. Theories and practices based on positive psychology are able to prevent many major emotional disorders. This not only enhances individuals' physical and mental well-being, it also reorients psychology to its two neglected goals of making normal people stronger and more productive, as well as making high human potential actual. Let us now understand the challenges for the future. In today's world, people are facing very tough challenges in the form of global warming, natural disasters, economic recession, terrorism and threat of war. A question then arises that in a world full of so many horrors and sadness, what is the place of a science based on testing, happiness, well-being, personal growth and the good life? Positive psychology is often criticized for being a selfish psychology, though this is quite untrue. Positive psychology has been able to give the scientific community, society and individuals a new perspective on existing ideas, as well as providing empirical evidence to support the phenomenon of human flourishing. Positive psychology has also challenged the deficit approach to living while connecting its findings to many different disciplines. The main issues and challenges for the field of positive psychology are as follows: the calculus of well-being, the development of positivity, neuroscience and heritability, enjoyment versus pleasure, collective well-being, authenticity, buffering, descriptive or prescriptive, realism, etc. It is believed that a psychology of positive human functioning will arise that achieves a scientific understanding and effective interventions to create thriving in individuals, families and communities. Positive psychology will understand and build those factors that allow individuals, communities and societies to flourish. Let us now summarize what we have learnt in this module. Positive psychology is the scientific study of the strengths and virtues that help individuals and communities and organizations to thrive. Despite many breakthroughs, the burden of mental disorders is becoming more prevalent. The science of mental health is more concerned with repairing and healing the damage rather than preventing the damage. Positive psychology deals with this problem by focusing on positive education, positive prevention, positive therapy, and positive intervention. Positive psychology emphasizes the building of the following strengths in psychotherapy, like courage, interpersonal skill, rationality, insight, optimism, honesty, etc. Positive education is defined as education which is meant to inculcate both traditional skills and happiness. Positive health refers to well-being beyond the mere absence of disease. Positive health is related to three existing approaches concerned with good health: disease prevention, health promotion, and wellness. The main interventions in positive psychology are aimed to nurture the three routes to happiness, that is, pleasure, gratification, and meaning. These interventions include well-being enhancing activities such as writing a gratitude journal, being kind to others, identifying personal strengths, etc. Prevention in psychology also focuses on building strengths. Positive psychologists believe that possessing certain human strengths can provide a buffer against mental illness. These virtues include courage, optimism, interpersonal skills, hope, etc. The main issues and challenges for the field of positive psychology are the calculus of well-being, the development of positivity, neuroscience and heritability, collective well-being, authenticity, etc.